Like, Coach of the Year, I got Tom Thibodeau, but that's because I have the Timberwolves making the playoffs.
I had the Timberwolves making the playoffs.
I have the Timberwolves making the playoffs.
We talked about it 2 weeks ago, and y'all argued with me. I don't know what happened.
I didn't.
Actually, it might have.
No, I didn't say I didn't. I didn't say. I thought we were arguing about Thibodeau's his play style, and I think he's going to run.
He's a shitty coach, but we're not
running them into the ground.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He's going to run them to the ground, but I think they're good enough to make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. They gonna make the playoffs, but they're gonna fall apart just like we did every year.
Yeah. They have a really nice young squad, though.
Mm-hmm. They need more shooting in their starting lineup. I just don't know where you put it.
Yeah. They have all this talent, but they have a few shot creators, but they don't have anyone who can shoot the ball.
Right.
That's their main issue right now.
Honestly, Zach LaVine, like, he's got to turn into a shooter, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. I don't think he can do it.
Well, maybe not this year, but he was kind of putting it together towards the end of the season.
Maybe eventually, but and I meant for this year.
Yeah.
Turner's asking you to resend it again.
Hold on. That one ain't paying attention. I closed Facebook.
I forgot Ibaka went to the Magic.
Yeah. I still don't know. I don't know what they have.
A lot of nothing.
They still got a bunch of young guys. They're like the Wizards. The year before they traded for Nene Hilario. Like, they still got a lot of young dudes, but actually more like the year before they traded for Gortat. Like, they got the ones just like kind of looking around like, all right, but still, what the hell? They just lack enough of everything.
I'll be able to give my predictions, but as far as talking in depth about it, I ain't gonna be able to do that. I know just enough to give a prediction, but they ain't got too much. I haven't really cared about basketball yet. It's still in the middle of the season, middle of the football season. I do not care about basketball.
Yeah, I haven't started paying attention to it yet either, to be honest. I've caught some box scores. Obviously, I kept up with the fact that the Bulls suck, but other than that,
I got alerts on the Kings.
Did anybody watch the game today?
Nope.
Anybody watch the first game?
What game? There's a game?
The Cavs? Yeah, there was the first game. There was a game earlier. What is it?
I watched some of it. I watched some of it at work.
Who was it?
Yo. Cavs and Knicks.
I don't watch that bullshit.
Yeah.
It's all bullshit until like after the All-Star break.
Man, y'all are all football guys too. I show football love. Y'all need to show basketball.
I'm a basketball fan. I just don't want to watch the damn Knicks, especially this early in the year.
I want to see their chemistry, how they look.
I want to see their chemistry in a month.
I think the basketball is such a, like, there's so many games you have to be played. Like, always, like you said, chemistry isn't developed until like halfway during the season when you can tell about the team. You give me 62 games, that's a really good sample size to know how good a team is.
Mm-hmm.
There's no need to like jump the gun too early in basketball because you can really tell what a team is capable of down the stretch.
62 or 82?
82.
82. Sorry, I said 62. 162 for baseball. I get the 62 and 82 confused sometimes. 162 for baseball, 82 for basketball, 16 for football, and 14 for college. Including playoffs.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah, you play 11.
The rest of that stuff.
You play 11 games. Conference championship is 12. You go 2 rounds in the playoffs. I mean, well, that's what the Buckeyes gonna do, but I can't speak for everybody.
If they make it to the playoffs, I don't think they're gonna make the playoffs.
How do they not make the playoffs if they beat Michigan?
If they beat Michigan, that's a big if though.
Man,
And then,
As
and
it
then if
stands,
Michigan,
I
play
would rather
they'll
see
play
Louisville.
Nebraska.
I'd rather see Louisville.
then Ohio State.
Yes.
Well, the thing is, it's going to be Ohio State or Michigan. They're going to play each other at the end of the season. They're both going to be in the top 5. One of them has
Or
to
Nebraska.
If
Or
Louisville doesn't
Nebraska.
lose again,
Nebraska's in
Nebraska,
and the only
Nebraska
team
will be,
Louisville's lost to is Clemson, though. Like,
but Nebraska will be in the Big Ten championship, and they're going to be in the top 10 as well.
Michigan.
Ohio State or Michigan will play against Nebraska and beat Nebraska.
Just stayed in the playoffs.
now, if they beat both
know.
them and Michigan, then I'll give it to you. But
that's what they're going to do. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's not really any doubts. Ohio State.
So everybody agrees. Everybody agrees. Michael Beasley MVP, right?
What? You said Michael Beasley, or am I hearing things?
It's the year he puts it all together.
No doubt.
Go to Milwaukee and show out.
Is he in Milwaukee?
Yeah.
Oh shit! I forgot.
I only have one idea who would win MVP. I don't even think it's really gonna be close.
Who's that?
I think it's gonna be Westbrook.
I started
like
actually. Hold on. Do we want to start the show and actually have this discussion? And we.
Yeah,
let's go ahead and start, man. I need to get in and out.
Yeah, man. Like I literally been at work for over 12 hours, and y'all want to do? No, we can't. I don't mind idling, but we gotta. I'm tired, man.
All right, let me hit it. Let me hit it. All right, I just hit the button.
I'm trying to record this.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you once again for tuning in. Sports Politicen presents Agree to Disagree. I'm your host once again, Alan Hinton. You can find me on Twitter, @Flash79. You can find the group on Twitter @SportsPoliticen. On Facebook @SportsPoliticen presents Agree to Disagree. And that's about it for now. Mr. Turner.
I'm Ann John Turner via Newport News, and now I'm in Chesapeake. You can find me on Twitter @Everybody Loves John. Also Luke Cage, dope show.
Purvis.
Perfect Purvis from Texas, living in Coble, Finland right now. You can find me on any social media @Perfect Purvis.
Let's.
Junior coming live from Houston, Texas.
You will be or you are?
You can hit me up on Twitter. All that at Lynch Jr.
All right, so today's show is going to be primarily about the NBA. With the season starting today, actually it already just started. We just had Cleveland play the Knicks. We're going to give our playoff predictions and then our predictions for the end of year awards. We're going to start off with our Western Conference playoff predictions. Mr. Turner will go first.
So, for those who are still in football mode, basketball is here now. As you mentioned, the Cavs played the Knicks. The Cavs beat the brakes off the Knicks, 117-88. So basketball season is back in full swing. As Alan mentioned, I'm doing the Western Conference, and really at this point, just like in the East, which we'll get to later, the West is one team at the top, and then the other 7 teams fighting for second place, I guess you could say. Everybody know the Warriors are the super team, which I hate that word. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Hate it. But the Warriors are look to be one of the best teams ever on paper, and I don't doubt that they'll be successful throughout the season. You add the player of a caliber of Durant while replacing out a net minus in Harrison Barnes. That's one of the biggest upgrades in NBA history. You still got Clay, still got Steph, still got Dre, still got Curry, Iguodala, and Livingston, the team that ended up losing the finals last year in epic fashion, I guess depending on your perspective, but they come back stronger, hungrier, looking to win the title again. That'll make it 2 in 3 years. The challengers to that really, and I'm gonna surprise a few people. I actually think the Clippers are gonna get second place, and then the Spurs third place. I feel like the loss of Tim Duncan is really big for them. I feel like his defense was overlooked. He was arguably the best defender in basketball against every team but the Warriors, who promptly schemed him off the court and put him into retirement. I think this is the year the Clippers put it together. I don't know why I have so much faith in them, especially with that gaping hole they have at small forward, which they've had there forever. But I think they get it done. Second place with the Spurs third. I think that the Utah Jazz actually are going to be fourth. I'm real big on them. They have one of my favorites in Derek Favors. Dante Exum is coming back. I definitely feel like they're one of the up-and-coming teams in the NBA. I really honestly do feel that way. I feel as though Burke, they got George Hill, to replace him, Joe Johnson, Boris Diaw. So they definitely have a team that can navigate the West. I know that they are missing Gordon Hayward, but they have the depth with Rodney Hood, Alec Burks to take the playmaking duties. I'm also high on the Rockets, actually, believe it or not. I'm not saying that they're going to finish fifth, but I'm high on them actually making the playoffs. I feel like that offense is going to be incredible. Harden is the point guard. They got shooters all around them. I'm definitely bullish on the Rockets, the Blazers. I'm bullish on them too. Dame coming back, CJ coming back. I'm definitely really big on them. As far as the other teams that I feel like would make the playoffs, I think the Grizzlies sneak in there, and I still think that the Thunder make the playoffs, even though Kevin Durant's gone. I honestly feel like they can work something. They have Oladipo now. Adams progressing. I do feel like they're a playoff contender, not a championship contender. So those are my 8 teams who make it in the West.
Is Lentz with us? I was gonna have Lentz go next, but I don't know if he's still. Purvis, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'm just gonna list mine. I'm not gonna give the explanations like AJT did because he explained most of it. I don't have mine in any order, but
Okay.
I do have the Warriors, Thunder, Spurs, Clippers, Trailblazers, Grizzlies, Utah Jazz, and Sacramento Kings. Now, before you get mad at me for putting the Sacramento Kings in there, this is just hopeful wishing. Okay? I don't know if they will, but I believe in Boogie Cousins, and I believe that he can get them to a little bit above 500 this season, and they can slide in. I believe they can. That's pretty much it.
Lentz, you want to go next?
He's still not here.
I don't think he's.
All right. Well, I guess I'll go next then, and we'll see if he shows up or comes back or whatever case may be. For the West, I guess I'll try to go in order where I think they'll finish. I had the Warriors, I got the Spurs, I got the Clippers. Those are my top 3. I actually think that I could see the Blazers finishing 4th, and then the Jazz. My last 3, I don't have an order for those just yet. Grizzlies, Mavericks, and Timberwolves. I love Rick Carlisle as a coach. I think that they actually got a little bit better with Bogut at the 5. I'm still really afraid of that point guard situation, and I don't know how Harrison Barnes is going to work out. But I think that if any coach can make Harrison Barnes look like a professional starting small forward, it would be Rick Carlisle. So I still don't think he's going to be what people want him to be, but I think he's going to be a lot better than he looked last year in Golden State, which may not be saying much. I think they'll probably be 6 or 7. I think the Timberwolves are probably firmly in the 8th spot, which means they get to give us what should probably be a pretty entertaining playoff series against Golden State in the first round if Thibodeau doesn't run that entire team into the ground. The Grizzlies just have too much talent, I think, not to make the playoffs. It doesn't really even matter if Fizdale's that great of a coach this year, I think. They've got so much talent, if healthy, that I think they're a playoff team regardless. And I'm kind of with you on the Jazz. They're a lot deeper of a team, I think, than people realize. And as y'all know, Joe Johnson is my guy. If he doesn't start, if he comes off the bench and can play 20-odd minutes a game, I think he'll make a big difference for them too. They don't have as much shooting as you'd like. Neither does the Timberwolves, but neither do a lot of teams these days. I'm kind of with you on the Blazers. I love their roster. I love Festus Ezeli being there. He probably ain't going to put up the numbers people think he will, but he'll bring the defensive solidarity to that team. I still don't know who the starting power forward is, and I don't know what they're going to do with Evan Turner. But I like the team that they're putting together. They still got a lot of young guys that are pretty athletic. So what we're seeing right now, where they look pretty good, may not even be their ceiling. They may get better from where they are right now. So I think it's exciting to end the playoffs now, but still have the ability to get better in the future. Now, is Lentz in existence yet? I'm gonna take those a no.
I have more to add then.
Add away.
So as far as what you said, P, for full disclosure for anybody who's watching, we're both Kings fans. I don't know how long P has been a Kings fan, but I've been a Kings fan since Chris Webber. That's my all-time.
Jason Williams.
Okay.
So about the same time.
Okay, about the same time. Okay. Chris Webber's my all-time favorite player. I like Jaeger as a coach. Excuse me. I'm a big fan of him as a coach. I love DeMarcus Cousins. I'm not one of those who looks past his knuckleheadedness. I just think that he needs to be in the right situation where he can just be another guy. I feel like he's been empowered by our sad sack franchise, and because of that, he's built up bad habits. It's going to be hard to break those habits now, because he's what, this is his 7th year since 2010, I believe. 7th year coming up. So I think every year that goes by that he's with our franchise, it's harder to break those habits. I don't have us in the playoffs. I'm glad we got rid of Rondo, who's pretty overrated and has been for a while now.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, for sure. Good luck, Chicago, with that. As far as Memphis, I disagree on their talent. They don't really have a lot of talent. I mean,
Aren't
they
they
have
old?
Yeah, like Mike Conley's 29, but guards, shorter guards who rely on their quickness usually decline faster.
True.
Tony Allen is always going to be a defensive savant, but in today's NBA, I think he's 34 now.
I feel like he's been around for a long time.
Yeah, Tony Allen's been around for a while. He's always going to be a defensive savant, but his offense makes him unplayable because he can't shoot. Chandler Parsons is still rehabbing the knees. Like Marc Gasol just had a navicular foot injury.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, a lot could go wrong there. A lot could go right, but a lot could go wrong. So I put them in the playoffs. I wouldn't necessarily say they're talented. I love what Utah's doing. I did mention that already. I just think that really everybody's fighting for second at this point. That's honestly what I believe. Like I don't feel like anybody's gonna seriously challenge the Warriors. I think they're just gonna be too good. And at this point, I can see the Warriors. I can see the Warriors winning the conference 12 or more games at least. At least.
Let me ask you this: if we all agree that the Warriors are the best team in the West, you think they try to win 74 games, or you think they try to just be good enough to make first seed?
I don't see why they wouldn't try for it.
I'm just asking.
Well, they've
They
already
weren't for them last year.
They've already come out and said that they're not going to try to do that. But if you start out the season 29-1, 30-1, that's being optimistic, of course. But if you start off the season 30-1 and you're blowing everybody out, why not go for it? I mean, again, but we're speaking as fans. They literally, other than Durant, just had this experience last year, and they felt like that handicapped them when actually winning the ring. I don't think it was that. I think it was a confluence of factors. Draymond being stupid, Steph getting hurt, Bogut getting hurt, and then LeBron and Kyrie. But I don't necessarily think it was the 73-9 pursuit. With Steph being hurt, they just weren't as good of a team.
True. I think they'll probably, if they get close, I think they'll go for it. I don't think last year would have hurt them at all. I will say this, though. I don't believe they have the same depth they had last year. So if they do try to rest guys or play guys a little bit less, I think they'll lose some games. So it's important that they stay healthy. I'm going to say a couple more words since you added some stuff, and then I'm going to give Lentz's picks since he did give those to us. I don't have a lot of confidence in Oklahoma City. When you look around outside of Russell Westbrook and Steven Adams, there's not a lot of guys on that roster right now that I trust. I've never been a big fan of Oladipo. I never will, probably.
But your boy Adam is. He loves Oladipo.
I don't know who starts for them at small forward. I loved Josh Houston in the summer league, but I don't know that he's ready to step up and replace Kevin Durant. They got Kyle Singler, who will probably start. Isn't it Kyle Singler? They got one of them kids from Duke.
That's Singler.
But he's not actually good at anything other than standing in one place and shooting threes. So they got a lot of question marks to me. They're still a pretty deep team, but it's not deep with a lot of guys that could get more minutes anywhere else. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens with them. Andre Robertson is going to have to step up and score more than 8 points a game. I don't even think he scored 8 points a game last year. I may have just gave him too many points. But that's neither here nor there. I really wanted to put New Orleans in the playoffs, even at the AC, just because I love Anthony Davis. I love some of the guys they brought in, but with Drew Holiday being gone for who knows how long, so much turnover on their roster, I just can't see it. I don't know what the hell the team's going to look like. So they could be close to a playoff team, but they could be a train wreck.
Well,
You kind of got you, Lance. You're coming to life slowly.
A little bit, yeah.
The things don't, yeah. What is going on over there, bro?
All right. So we're just gonna get his predictions until he figures that out.
Yeah.
For the playoffs, Lentz had the Spurs, Golden State, the Rockets, the T-Wolves, Dallas.
Go in depth like eternity.
Jazz, the Clippers, and the Blazers.
You gotta quit while you're ahead, man.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, man. Just reboot or something, yo. We'll be here when you get back, man.
Yeah, legit.
Try your phone.
Yeah, Spurs, Golden State, Rockets, T-Wolves, Dallas, Utah, Clippers, and Portland is his pick. Am I the only person that doesn't like Houston this year?
I didn't put Houston in mine. I don't think.
Yeah, I was
think
gonna say he didn't put Houston in his, and I actually understand why people aren't doing it because they might score 120 and give up 125.
Right.
So I get it, but I believe in Harden this year, man. I do.
I'm
a big
the only
believer.
person that doesn't. I guess
I
I believe all the effort that he puts on offense and the fact that there's no one that even remotely attempt to play defense, he will eventually have a downturn on offense, and then what are you going to do? Because then if you're not scoring and the other team is still just scoring at will, because not like him not scoring is going to help your defense. They're not going to win a lot of games with that style, and not having the personnel to play any defense.
I think they'll give a lot of points. I think he's gonna turn the ball over a lot. I don't like the idea of him at point guard. It bothers me.
I actually love it. I love it, actually. I'm not going to lie. I'm a huge fan of that move because he was basically the point guard last year anyway. So
and he also turned the ball over a lot last year.
He did, but a lot of that was pace inflicted too. Like his turnover rate wasn't any more or less different than most superstars. Like, but because they played at such a fast pace, like it made it look like it made it look like he had like he was turning the ball over more. Just looking at his turnover rate from last year, and I'm in the midst of actually trying to turn the game on now, so like it'll actually be in the background. Like his turnover rate last year was, give me a second, it was 15.9. That was actually the highest of his career, but it was 15 in 2013, 2014, and it was 14.9, which is basically 15. So he used more possessions last year. I mean, listen, that offense is a train wreck.
Yeah, but you're also talking about being coached now by Mr. 7 seconds or less. Like, it ain't gonna get better.
I don't necessarily know if it'll get worse either, though. I mean,
it's gonna stay the same.
I guess it depends on how they're using their possessions too. So,
yeah,
you know what I mean. Yeah, I'm. I like the Rockets, man. That offense gonna be crazy. Like they literally have no good defenders in their starting lineup. Capella has the potential.
Gordon's not a bad defender.
No. Eric Gordon's bad. Eric Gordon's bad. Like Eric Gordon's bad. Like Ryan Anderson is worse. Like what people think Kevin Love is on defense, that's what Ryan Anderson actually is.
That's true. That's true. I think they're going to miss Terrence Jones. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying that as a Terrence Jones fan. I'm saying that as a basketball fan. I think they're going to miss Terrence Jones. I think they're going to miss Dwight Howard in a way because Nene Hilario is going to be their starting center, isn't he? Or are they going to start Capella?
Capella. I think Capella has the ability to be a good defensive player, but with all that penetration that they're going to allow, it's going to make him look bad.
Yeah. All right. Well, want to move to the east, or we want to wait for Lentz?
No. We're not waiting for him.
All right. Since you went first, I'll do Lentz's picks first. Then mine. Actually, no. Purvis, you go second. And then we'll come back to me and let you finish, Turner. So for the East, Lentz has the Cavaliers, obviously, Toronto, Boston, Detroit, the Wizards, Atlanta, New York, and Chicago.
Oh, God.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
So I won't have the worst picks. Yes.
Yeah, good.
I have Cavs, Hawks, Celtics, Wizards, Pistons, Raptors, and then I finished with Pacers, and I put 76ers in there.
Why would you do that?
I like the optimism.
I'm trying to mix it up and give myself one wild card 8 seed in each conference. And I mean, why can't you believe in Philly? I mean, everybody talks about how much talent they got. They're so young. I mean, it might be the year. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that they pull it together and somehow work it out.
Yeah.
Purely off of hope and love for Philadelphia. No actual
really
reasoning
is.
behind it. Just I really feel like they should be better.
A lot of people do, but that's been the case for
like 3 or 4 years.
How long has Iverson been gone?
Since Iverson.
I would love it though. I would love to see Philly make the playoffs.
His soul is in that building now. I mean, he got it in the Hall of Fame. I mean, so his soul is like in that building. So
I would love to see Philly make the playoffs, but they don't have enough like actual basketball players yet. Like, they got a lot of people with jerseys, but they don't have basketball players yet.
Yeah, but them Philly jerseys look good, man. I might get me one. I might cop one.
And you can wear one watching the games like they will in the playoffs.
I'm mad you actually picked Philly though. Like there's gotta be like, but you picked the Kings. Like I understand you picking the Kings. You're a Kings fan, but
I if anything, look, Wilden said it. I picked Philly out of just the fact that who really cares about the East? I think it's that's what I think. There's so many teams at the in the middle to bottom of it. I was like, might as well put 76ers up there. They got just as good a chance as these other 4 or 5 teams at the bottom of the East.
It's hard to argue that.
See, little sense. It has pretty much almost nothing to do with my basketball talent, scouting skills, but it's just the common thinking about the league at this time. Like, I mean, when you got the bottom of the barrel, why not try to pull off the upset? Make it interesting.
That would
now, let's not forget this. If we come to the All-Star break and Philly is looking like a 8 or 9 seed, I want y'all to give me my respect that I deserve.
That's not a problem. That is not a problem. I have absolutely no problem with that. All right, so I'm going to start off before I give my teams. I'm going to start off by saying how hard it was for me to pick 8 teams in the East because everybody's kind of bad. Like, once you get past 4 teams, I don't like anybody.
Name those 4.
The 4 I got really quickly: Boston, Cleveland, Toronto, and Detroit. Beyond that, it took me a second. I think Charlotte's good enough defensively to go back to the playoffs. Atlanta, I got the Knicks and I got the Bucks, and the last 2 were hard for me. Like, once I got past Atlanta, I went through and looked at the rosters a couple times. I didn't feel good about anybody. I wanted to put Chicago because I'm a Bulls fan, but we're gonna be a train wreck. I mean, I think Hoiberg's gonna get fired. I think everything's gonna fall apart. I think at best Jimmy gets traded. It's not gonna happen. I'm just saying, the best case scenario, at least we can just start over for real. The Pacers, I'm afraid of. I don't think they're gonna be good. I've been screaming for Nate McMillan to get another coaching job for longer than we've been in this group. I mean, y'all can attest to it since we've been in this group, but even before, I've been saying Nate McMillan deserves another chance. I don't think this was the spot for him. I don't like what they're trying to do going faster. I like Teague at point guard, but that's pretty much where the changes stop for me. I think they're going to be an interesting team, but they're going to be one of those interesting teams that lose by 2 or 3 every night. I don't think that's going to get them in the playoffs. And the Wizards are the last team that I wanted to put in there, but the Wizards are going to be terrible. I love Scotty Brooks as well. They're going to score some points, but they're going to kind of be like Houston of the East, I think, where they score a lot of points and give up a lot more. Like, they may be a team that puts up 110 every night, but you may get 119 on them. So it doesn't serve much of a purpose. But I love John Wall. I really wanted to put them in the playoffs. I just couldn't do it. Quietly, the Milwaukee Bucks have put together a pretty decent bench. We were joking about Jason Terry in the group the other day, but he apparently plays for the Bucks. They've got Michael Beasley coming off the bench. I think Thon McKeer is going to be interesting, but even if it takes him a while, they've got Mirza Teletovic and Greg Monroe, who isn't a great fit as a starter, but I think they're going to be able to move the ball really well with their second unit, and I think that's going to keep them in a lot of games. They traded for Tony Snell, and I literally don't think he's going to play a minute, or at least once Chris Middleton gets back, because I think Middleton's hurt. But once that team gets healthy, I think they're going to be really interesting. They hurt their chemistry, I think, last year by moving a lot of the bench guys, but I think they rebuilt that bench this year, realizing how much of a mistake that was. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they look like. I'm not like where y'all were 2 years ago thinking they were going to make all kinds of noise, but I think they'll make the playoffs. The biggest, most interesting team for me, and I may be biased, is Detroit. I really like the fact that they kept their guys together. I'm probably going to talk a little bit more about, my favorite player on that team later. But I think that they've got the depth and talent now that they didn't have last year, because Cleveland just wore them out. If you watch that series, they just did not have the bodies to keep up with Cleveland. Cleveland ran them out the gym, literally. And I don't think that's going to happen again this year. So I'm really interested to see what Detroit can do. Turner, what you got?
So I'm gonna name the 4 teams that I think are well, obviously 8 teams got to go in, but Cleveland at the top, Boston, Cleveland, Boston, Toronto, and Detroit. Each has their own, strengths and weaknesses, obviously. Cleveland is the reigning champions. They got the best player in basketball. I feel like Kyrie's gotten very overrated now.
Mm-hmm.
But as an offensive player, or not a total offensive player, but as a scorer, he's almost peerless when you combine his handle, his finishing skills, and shooting skills. He's peerless in that regard. And obviously you got one of my favorites in Kevin Love, who's unique as a three-pointer defender. A three-pointer and a rebounder. You go to Boston, I think, honestly, they're a bit overrated. I'm going to be honest with you. They had a great defense, but they had problems scoring last year. And Al Horford is a decent shooter for a big man, but he's not going to help their three-point problem, and he's a bad rebounder. And Boston was 26th in defensive rebounding percentage last year.
I was going to ask if y'all bought Boston as a title contender. I kept seeing, when I was looking, people talking about Boston winning the East and Boston being a team that could challenge Cleveland. I just don't see it.
Yeah, yeah. And they lost in the first round the past 2 years. I don't see it. I don't.
I like Al Horford, but I don't think he's that much of a difference maker. And he's really the only guy they brought in from last year that makes a difference, other than
makes a difference, right? Zaza Pachulia just did a behind the back pass to Klay Thompson, but he missed the 3. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. I like Toronto, even though they lost Bismack. I'm honestly mad, truthfully, if they don't feature Jonas Valanciunas more. They don't really have any bigs in the East who can hold him. He was killing Whiteside. He kills everybody, but they don't get him the ball, and they still let overrated DeMar DeRozan take contested mid-range shooters. Stop it. I love Kyle Lowry. I love him. Best point guard in the East. I don't like DeMar DeRozan's game, but I like the direction that Toronto's going in. Detroit, they lost Reggie Jackson 4 to 6 weeks with his knee, I think that's going to impact that pick and roll because Detroit, their bench was amongst the worst in the NBA last year. So they don't really have a point guard. Ish Smith is their starter now. Good luck with that. I'm not a fan of the Pacers' moves, and I'm not a fan of what Larry Bird and his arrogance. Like, I understand you want to run fast, but then you hire a coach who routinely wants to go slow. That seems dumb. Then you have worse players. Teague is worse than George Hill. Then you bring in Al Jefferson, who doesn't fit. And then you bring in Thad Young. Again, I understand you want to run, but he can't shoot. As far as threes, Hawks are going to be different. I'm not a believer in Schroeder, and I'm a Dwight fan, but I don't really see them making any noise. They'll rebound better, but I don't know what Dwight's going to do as far as defense and scoring. The Hornets, so there's a video circulating on social media about Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. Like, he has the most hideous form I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
But he's a difference maker for them, especially on defense. He's the rare elite defender who doesn't get a lot of steals. I'm a fan of his.
Yeah.
As far as number 8, wow. Like, this is just like picking the ugliest girl at the ball. I'll probably say the Wizards if Bill can stay healthy.
When happened?
Right. And then now John Wall and Bradley Beal don't like each other in real life.
Really?
Yeah.
They don't really like each other in real life. So
they're Kobe and Shaq. They need to get it together.
Yeah.
They just both think they're alphas, and the reality is Bradley Beal's not good at anything, and he has to understand that. He's got to be able to play off of John Wall and just be okay with that.
Yeah.
That's the end of the story.
Those are my 8. Again, I'm not,
I think
I don't really have a lot of confidence in the East other than Cleveland. So
no. I mean,
I like the Raptors and Pistons. I think if anybody can contend with Cleveland, I like the Raptors and the Pistons to do it.
I think it'll be Cleveland and Toronto in the Eastern Conference Finals, just really for lack of anybody else. Detroit, if they end up matched up with Toronto in the playoffs, will be an interesting matchup, but I don't think they got enough talent to beat them either. They're a more talented team than last year, but that'll only take you so far. They still need a little bit more help. Like you said, the bench ain't great. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope hasn't turned into the player that I think they want him to. I mean, he's a much better shooter than I expected him to be, but he hasn't really added anything other than that. He's not really any different than Jody Meeks, to be honest, except for he's a little better.
I disagree. KCP is actually really not that good of a shooter, but he's very good defensively. Like, he's very, very good. And he probably has the quickest feet in the entire NBA. Like, it is really hard to get around him. He's like one of those defensive players in the mold of Avery Bradley, in that he's great one-on-one, but he's not as good on team defense.
Okay.
So I think that, for me, is where I would like for him to take the next step. I love him as an individual defender. Like, again, I don't think there's anybody in the NBA who moves his feet as quickly as he does. Like, he can guard shooting guards, point guards. He definitely has versatility. But, Stanley Johnson, people were talking him up. He had a .469 true shooting percentage. Not field goal percentage, but true shooting percentage last year.
That's what I'm assuming is bad.
Yeah, that's bad. So, yeah, I don't buy him as, a stalwart for the future, per se. But obviously he's young and has room to grow.
Mm-hmm.
The East is just, the West actually isn't that strong this year besides the Warriors.
But at least you know who to expect in the West.
Yeah.
You know what they're gonna do. A lot of their teams are set into positions that we know that they're gonna be at least good. In the East, it's I mean, I won't use the word I want to use, but it's a rambling of sorts, a very large area of teams that we don't think are that good, and they could be in any order after number 4.
Right. So what made you, Turner, what made you pick Washington over New York?
I don't understand what the hype is about New York. Like, you have a decline in Carmelo Anthony, you have a decline Rose, you have a
How
decline.
Carmelo is.
I don't think he's an all NBA performer. He actually hasn't made an all NBA team in like 3 years, if I'm not mistaken.
So you think naming him as a top 15 but not a top 10 is accurate?
Yeah, I've said that he wasn't a top 15 player. I've said
You
that.
say he's not top 15.
No, I don't think he's top 15. No.
He's top 15 in this position. I'll give him that.
Yeah,
Damn.
I mean, but it's 5 positions. So.
Right.
Yeah.
The only reason I've got New York over Washington is you know what New York is, at least with their starting lineup. I mean, you know what you're gonna get out of Derrick Rose. It ain't great. You know what you get out of Carmelo Anthony. He can score, but he ain't gonna get nothing on defense. I just blanked on their starting shooting guard.
No idea.
Yeah.
Is it Ron Baker?
No.
But Ron Baker did make the team, though.
That's interesting.
I'm looking at their roster, and I don't even see a shooting guard.
I don't feel like Ron Baker does anything.
Courtney Lee is the starting shooting guard.
Courtney Lee. There you go.
Yeah, I love Courtney Lee. I think I'm still living off the hype of his first 2 years. But again, you know what he's going to give you 3 and D and nothing else, literally. Joakim Noah probably won't stay healthy because he doesn't do that anymore, thanks to Tom Thibodeau. But he's going to give you energy. He's going to give you effort. And he's going to be excited because he's from New York. And I know he wanted to be a Knick. And then Porzingis, I think, is the biggest difference maker between the Wizards and the Knicks. There's nobody to me that's a wild card like Porzingis. Porzingis can take another step this year and win some games for them, where there's nobody in Washington that I see that can make a step and really make a difference. I'm not impressed pretty much by anybody on that team, as much as I hate to say it.
Well, yeah, I'm not it was funny when Derrick Rose was saying that people were calling them the super team. I said, who? I was like, I'm confused. Like, I hate that word anyway, but nobody's going to call y'all that.
No, I don't see it.
Super team that never was super.
Alan, your boy Dwayne Dedman literally just tried to dunk and got hung. I thought that was funny.
87 feet tall?
Yeah, he tried to dunk and got hung. That's gonna be on it. That's gonna be on Shaq then.
You can't do that. Yeah, it probably will. Yeah, you can't do that.
But I'll just say that the East is not really up for grabs like the West isn't. And I feel like the trilogy, we're gonna have we're gonna have great block, Kevin Durant. We're gonna have Cleveland Golden State. And speaking of Cleveland and Golden State, who are y'all MVP, Coach of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, 6 man? For me, I actually have LeBron winning his 5th MVP. I do, because he's a hero again. Most rational people like him again. Durant and Curry are going to cancel each other out. So I think that in Westbrook is going to, San Antonio has an 11-point lead. That's crazy. Excuse me. And I think that Kawhi will sneak in. I don't think Westbrook will have the team success to get it. My coach of the year, if Boston does what people think they'll do, Brad Stevens will win it. Defensive player of the year, probably Draymond. Sixth man of the year, I'm hoping Jamal Crawford stops winning these things. Like sixth man is more than just offense, man, and more than just inefficient offense at that. Like Andre Iguodala could have won it last year. Lou Williams was more efficient last year. Like, Manu Ginobili's always in the running. Actually, Patrick Patterson had a sneaky six-man case last year. So, like, let's look for other people other than Jamal Crawford. My choice is probably going to be Patrick Patterson, actually. He's a stretch four now. Pretty good defensive player, mobile against the pick and roll. As far as that's it, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's all we're doing.
Yeah, we only were doing 4.
You did
okay.
MVP, Rookie of the Year. Did you do Rookie of the Year?
No, I did not. Okay, my Rookie of the Year, I did do 6. My Rookie of the Year is Joel Embiid.
6 anyway.
Is Joel Embiid.
I'm gonna give Lentz's and I'll give mine. Lentz has Harden for MVP.
Oh God.
Good thing he's not here to argue that.
He has Chris Dunn for Rookie of the Year. Coach of the Year is Tom Thibodeau. And Defensive Player of the Year is Dwight Howard. So those are his.
Yeah, I wish he was here to say, like, where do you currently reside, Lentz?
I really love to get explanations for some of those because Dwight Howard, like the Dwight Howard for the last 3 years, to me doesn't look like he has defensive player ability. I don't know if he'll get defensive player of his team this year.
Right. Correct.
Maybe. But anyway, so for my list, and you may disagree with one or two of these. Rookie of the Year, I like you, Turner. I have Joel Embiid. The couple things I've seen, I haven't watched any games, but I've seen highlights and I've been looking at box scores for the preseason. He's done a lot. He's scored in a lot of ways. He's grabbed a lot of rebounds, created turnovers. Like, he's playing really well. If he stays healthy, I think he's got a chance to make a huge difference this season. He, in my opinion, shouldn't be considered a rookie since he got drafted 3 years ago. But, that is what it is. I'm really interested to see him get on the court finally. I'm excited about it. I don't want him shooting threes. I don't care about Jahlil Okafor or whatever else. I hate 290-pound center shooting threes. But I think that he's going to be a Rookie of the Year. He's going to be one of the most exciting players that you'll never actually see on TV because he still plays for Philly. Nobody's going to watch him play. They're not going to put on TV. My Coach of the Year is also Tom Thibodeau, and a big part of that is because I had Minnesota making the playoffs. I think that what you'll see is that team play so many good games being so young. It's going to make him look good until the playoffs, at which point everybody gets hurt and they fall apart, just like it's been for the last, 5 years that he's coached. I think it's going to be, same story, different book with him. I think he's going to ruin some careers in Minnesota, but it's going to start off great. People are going to be really excited when they go to the playoffs this year. 3 years from now, when none of these guys look like you thought they would, he'll probably be out the door once again. That's neither here nor there. For this year, I think he's going to be Coach of the Year. Brad Stevens was my second for the same reason, because people are super excited about something that nobody else really sees. But if they end up being the top 3 team in the East, I think it'll be really hard to ignore him for Coach of the Year. So that was why he was my second. This one, I know you're probably not going to agree with, Turner. I got Draymond Green for MVP. I literally wrote down Westbrook and then scribbled it out. I don't think the team's going to do well enough, like you said, for him to get serious consideration. I think he'll be in the conversation, but I don't think that I can't think of a team that a player that's won MVP and a team didn't go to the playoffs, and I can't see OKC going to the playoffs. I mean, he could honestly average 38 and 11 this season, and they probably still won't go to the playoffs. It'll be too hard not to put him in the MVP conversation, but I don't think he'll have enough support to win it. He might make an all-star game, which would be really impressive for a guy on a losing team, but that's as far as it'll go. I think Draymond Green is really going to be the guy that puts that team together as far as chemistry. He's going to be the guy that kind of makes that team come together, especially offensively as a facilitator. And I honestly think he might end up being a guy taking some shots late, just because there's so many people. I think him being a guy with the ball in his hands is going to end up meaning him taking some shots. I could be wrong by that, but I think that he's going to surprise and really come out and make a difference in some games this year, because I think they're going to have chemistry issues early. Not big ones, but I think there's going to be some confusion. I think he's going to end up having to bail the team out in some ways.
Well, they need bailing out right now because they're losing by 11.
To who?
San Antonio.
Oh, nice. Well, this could be his first step for his MVP candidate.
Sure.
And you're going to call me biased, and I'm fine with that. But my defensive player of the year is Andre Drummond.
What?
I told you weren't going to agree. So he averaged 15 rebounds a game last year. He actually had a pretty good steal rate for a center last season. I know you don't care about those stats, but his biggest thing was that he didn't block shots very much. And I think that's going to change this year. I think he's going to continue to blossom. He's in his early 20s. I think he's 23 or 24. He's still young. I think this will be the year where he really comes into his own on the defensive end. I think he's going to change the game or change games for them in a lot of ways. And if that Detroit team comes out and does well, it's going to be because of him on both sides of the floor. I don't want to make the Dwight Howard comparison, but I think he's going to be in that same kind of mold when Orlando made it to the playoffs and looked like a title contender early in Stan Van's time there. I think he's going to come out. I mean, he had more 2020 games than anybody last year. I think he's going to come out and continue that dominance, but also continue that as a shot contester for the first time in his career. I think he's going to be hard to ignore in a defensive conversation. What you got, Purvis?
Well, from an MVP, I'm going with Russell Westbrook. Now, I got good reasoning for it. I'm going with Westbrook mostly out of default. I think it's going to be a season where you got a lot of star players playing with other stars on their teams, and I think just the voters are going to look at it and see that if Westbrook can take OKC to the playoffs, they don't have to necessarily be good in the playoffs, but if he can put that team on his back, keep doing the triple doubles as he usually does, and then you look at all the other teams and the superstars, and there's LeBron and Kyrie, there's the Warriors and all the different players they have. All the good teams have pairs and trios of big names right now. Now, who's to say that maybe OKC has somebody? What is his name? Oladipo, whatever. Huh?
Steven Adams? Or are you talking about Oladipo?
Oladipo. I'm thinking either one of those two, if they could step up and help that team win. But this would not be the season that they would step up, help the team win, and you'd consider them like a pair. It's still Russell Westbrook and team. And I think that with that, it'll be the lesser of splitting votes between the players, because a lot of the players' negative detraction when they get in the votes will be that, well, they play with these guys. You won't be able to say that with Westbrook. No one is going to look at the OKC and be like, well, Westbrook is only playing well because he's with these people, or they help take pressure off of him. So I think that'll raise his status as an MVP candidate. That's why I would pick him. That's my reason behind that. Defensive player of the year, I don't have one. I don't watch defense. I've written down like so many names. I'm just like, I really don't understand or think I can predict who's going to play good defense. It's just not me. I like to watch people dunk and shoot threes. Rookie of the year, I also don't have one of those because I don't watch college basketball. So nothing I could do. But I'm not gonna just say random stuff. Coach of the year, I do have Thibodeau, contingent on the fact that the Timberwolves get into the playoffs. I think if he gets that young team into the playoffs, you have to think that he did something to get them there because they're so young and they have a lot of potential, a lot of talent, but you don't see that they're necessarily a playoff team. And I think their coaching and Thibodeau doing it would be what puts them in the playoffs, and that would give him Coach of the Year for me.
I honestly didn't expect people to agree with me on the Thibodeau thing. I really thought I was going to be the only one, and I hated having to do it, but I think the way he coaches is set up for regular season wins and regular season awards. I don't think he'll ever be a finals coach. I just don't think his players will survive long enough. But his approach to the game makes them prime for regular season recognition.
Yeah, I mean, because he runs those boys into the ground. I mean, I feel bad for Towns. Like, I wouldn't have let him near Karl Anthony Towns.
Them regular season stats, though, that's what it's about.
I mean, they're going to get some stats because all the players going to play 36-plus minutes a game. You're going to see Karl Anthony Towns all night long. I tell you what, I'd be surprised if they keep Nikola Pekovic, too, being 300 pounds, making $13 million, I think, and injury prone. There's really no purpose that he serves there, and he ain't gonna play enough minutes to justify being on the team.
Right, and then in today's NBA, you don't really need a post up brute unless he's coming off the bench.
Right. Which don't they have? Man, I just blanked on his name. Gorgie Jang. I don't know how you say his last name.
Yeah, Jang.
I'd rather play him off the bench behind Karl Anthony Towns than Pekovic.
Well, then who's gonna start?
I would start Karl Anthony Towns at the 5, and then try your hand with Adrian Payne at the 4 again. See what he can come up with.
Oh God, no.
I still think Karl Anthony Towns is a power forward, but the way the NBA works today, he's the prototypical center. He's what teams want at center. I would rather see him at the 4, but I think that's where the league is now.
You think he's one of those Chris Duncan type? I mean, Tim Duncan type? Like, Tim Duncan has always been a power forward, but at times he's had to play the 5 just because of his size and his look and the way that the scheme was in San Antonio. But he's never really been a center. He's never been a center. He's always been a power forward, but he's a different size power forward than what was expected when he came into the league.
No, I think he is going to be considered a center. I think he's the opposite of Tim Duncan. While Tim Duncan was the center in concept more than he was considered a center, I think Karl Anthony Towns is going to be considered a center more than he really is. Like, I don't think he's ever going to really be what you and I think of as a center, but they're going to play him there regardless, whether he should or not. But, I mean, they've got enough big guys. Even if you start Karl Anthony Towns, Cole Aldrich might make the team. Jordan Hill is there, and I love Jordan Hill off the bench. So he can be your backup 5. So you could start Gorgie Jang. I'm going to struggle to that forever. And put Karl Anthony Towns at the 4 if you really wanted to. I wouldn't have a problem with him playing at 4, but the world seems to love him as a center.
I mean, because he would have more matchup advantages at center.
No, absolutely.
Like, he's legit 7 feet. But Jang actually has range. But both of them have range. So Towns and Jang could actually stretch the floor. So
I don't think I've ever seen Gorgie Jang even come close to shooting a 3, just for the record. I don't know.
I mean, but he's good. He's actually one of the highest percentages in mid-range.
Oh. And that definitely makes a difference. That helps. And if Tom Thibodeau cares enough to get creative, he's got a lot of guys he can work with in that front court. Jordan Hill, like I said, just because of his energy. Adrian Payne, if he can get his jump shot to fall and if he can figure out how to rebound, he gives you a lot, honestly. I really like Adrian Payne. I just don't think he's put it together.
You kind of just said if he figure out how to shoot a rebound, he'll give you a lot. I don't know. Like
I mean, he's never been a big rebounder, and he was a better shooter in college than the NBA so far, but such is life. But I think that Thibodeau will give him an opportunity to be a little bit better on the defensive end while his shot figures out, or while he figures out his shot. He may not start. I mean, he did start off and on last year, but that was a different regime. But any last thoughts?
My last thought would be basketball is silly.
All right.
Nah, I'm joking. Basketball isn't silly, but I gotta be honest. Turner makes me really want to watch more basketball this season. So I'm letting y'all know right now, I will attempt to watch more basketball this year.
I like that. Anything you got, Turner?
He literally is watching basketball.
No, I actually am currently watching basketball. I wish y'all would like basketball like I like football.
I mean, I'm a basketball fan. I'm a big basketball fan. I just don't watch the preseason.
It broke my heart so many times when I was younger for me to just love it. Like, it upsets me when I'm watching games, and I've seen way too many games where the best players aren't playing hard because it's a regular season game or it's the third road game in a row for them, so they're taking it easy. And that's like always what comes to mind whenever I think about watching basketball, because I'm like, I'm watching 46 minutes of them just kind of messing around and then 2 minutes of basketball. And that's when I find out what the game is really like in the last 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Just if it goes their way. I don't know. It irks me, but I do respect the skill set and the game. And I've even started playing basketball myself. So I think I'll try to better myself and understand the game a little bit more so I can give AJT a little bit more feedback about his awful decisions and ideas.
I'm cool with that.
By the way, in my basketball league, I'm averaging 16 points and 13 rebounds.
13 rebounds?
They actually keep stats in the league. Yeah, I'm second in the league in rebounds per game and 8th in scoring.
That's dope.
What?
Got your baby Andre Drummond on out there.
And like we're the best defensive team in the league. Like you could probably say I was Kevin Love on defense. Like people would always say I'm bad, but it don't reflect in the numbers.
The numbers.
Like I can't jump like him. I'm not really protecting the rim. I actually have no block shots. But I'm averaging a steal and a half per game. So for a center, that's actually really good. That's actually Andre Drummond style.
See? Gotta give my man his credit.
Yeah.
Whether you want to admit it or not, he's the second best center in the league. And I'm not saying he's third, I'm just saying in general.
No.
Second best?
Yes, behind Cousins. Who was better than him?
Karl Anthony Towns is better than him.
Not yet. Not yet. He probably will be in the next 2 years, but right now, Andre Drummond is the second best center in the league.
I disagree.
You disagree?
I think DeAndre Jordan's better.
Oh, come on. He can't score.
But that's not his game. That doesn't mean he's not good at the position. Like,
90%.
Are we rating the position by, like, you have to have these certain qualities, or you're good at the position on your team?
For me, it is which center I would rather have. DeMarcus Cousins, Andre Drummond, Karl Anthony Towns, and then probably DeAndre Jordan. But he offensively doesn't do anything but catch a ball and dunk. I don't think he's a better rebounder than Drummond is.
You know how high your shooting percentage is if all you do is dunk?
Yeah, but you can't run plays for that. That just happens.
But all the attention that he brings on his rolls to the cup, it helps create offense. Now, what I will say is that Andre Drummond looks out of shape. He looks fat.
Yeah, I agree with that. DeAndre Jordan is definitely in better shape than he is. I will give you that. But then again, up until this year, you could say the same thing about DeMarcus Cousins. He was still the best.
That's true, but DeMarcus, I don't know. I guess I feel like DeMarcus has a much more skilled game than Andre Drummond. Like Andre Drummond can't score in the post.
Yeah.
So I feel like him being in better shape will help his game more.
Yeah, and I think he's gonna get there. You can call me naive if you want. But I definitely think he'll get there. He's also only 23, so you got to keep that in mind. DeMarcus Cousins is, 26 now? So he's a little bit older. And Drummond is still a really young guy. So as much as I hate to say it, I think he's still at a point where he's taking the game seriously. But all of that's going to come. I mean, name the last 23-year-old I guess really in recent memory that was polished in the post.
That's a good point.
Yeah. And also, I just thought about this. When he's healthy, Marc Gasol is better than DeAndre Jordan.
No, he's not. Not anymore.
If he was 100% healthy.
Marc Gasol hasn't made an all-defensive team since he won Defensive Player of the Year.
He hasn't been healthy.
That's his fault. I understand
being healthy will be part of the position, huh?
Yeah,
I mean, I get it. I get it to a certain extent, but health is a skill.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Get that hyper chamber. Hydraulic thing where you sit in that cold tub and watch TV and eat pizza. It's all good.
Get your Terrell Owens on.
Yeah.
I will give you that, though. That being healthy is a skill that he doesn't seem to have anymore. But at 100%, if I had to pick between Marc Gasol and DeAndre Jordan, I'm going with Marc Gasol.
If I had to pick between either one, I'm just going to decide to look into the draft. I've had enough of both of them.
That's probably not a bad pick either. But
there's probably some 7'3" European guy that I can bring in for a small fee and get what I need done out of him without having to worry about his injuries or his lack of scoring ability, because he will dunk and he will have a little bit of a post-up game that they do out there in Europe, and I'll go with that.
I'll tell you what, speaking of which, I wouldn't be surprised if DeMarcus Cousins got traded. I think that's why they drafted so many bigs.
They had like 5 centers.
Yeah. I think a big part of that was preparing themselves to get rid of DeMarcus Cousins. Because I just don't see them being a playoff team during this contract. And I think if his contract runs out and they haven't made the playoffs, I think he's gonna leave. And I think they know that they're not gonna be a playoff team while he's still there.
But where would he go?
My first response, if he's a free agent, like if it's not a trade, my first response would be LA. For one main reason, they've got a lot of young people, a lot of young players that he could play really interesting around. And the publicity, after 7 years on a team nobody's paid any attention to, go to LA and become one of the biggest names in the sport. I think that would be really interesting.
I like that idea. Him into LA.
I would actually
I would
like to
miss
see
him,
him in San Antonio.
San Antonio would be crazy.
No,
But I don't
like
think
it.
you do that with Aldridge. I think if you find a way to move Aldridge, that would be possible.
But you think they would move Aldridge after getting him and then Tim Duncan? Like, I don't know.
Yes.
Depends on who you ask, because there's been rumors already that he doesn't like his situation there. He wants to be the guy, and that ain't gonna happen there. I would trade him straight up. He could be the guy in Sacramento and never go to the playoffs again.
I mean, he already got it. He already got his money. I would like to see that. Honestly, if I'm Cleveland, I'm calling up about him.
About Aldridge or about DeMarcus?
DeMarcus.
For Kevin Love?
Kevin Love, Tristan Thompson.
Yeah, I don't see Sacramento wanting either. Like, I'm just saying, like, now if he goes there free agent, yeah, but
no, they wouldn't have enough cap space to sign him as a free agent.
Oh, hell no, not in the next 12 years.
not if they got rid of Love somehow somewhere else and then hit the cap. But I just don't think that. I don't think Love or Thompson to Sacramento would interest Sacramento in the trade. You know, like,
no, I mean, but if you start the trade package off with that, not necessarily end it, but Love and Thompson is pretty close in value to DeMarcus. You might have to add a pick or something.
So how many post players do you think they can have on the roster? Like, they already have about 85. So you want to add 2 more who aren't as good as the one that you have start? I'm just saying, like, I think that's a stretch for that trade. I can see them on the team and moving some pieces, but I don't think it would be from the trade point. I think it would be something that's a trade with another team, and then their roster shrinks, and then they go for this type of trade. I think it would have to be a 3-team thing. The Cavs have to make it a 3-team. I have no idea. I'm just telling you what I'm thinking. I don't know. Like, I feel like it would be way too much work for a situation that doesn't help the Kings very much at all. except for getting rid of Boogie, which, how bad do you really want to get rid of your best player?
Right.
Just because he doesn't like it there, but you've appeased him his whole time there anyway. So it's like, you're not gonna go out of your way to get rid of him. It's not like the organization has said we're fed up with Boogie. The organization has said, well, this is what we got, this is what we're gonna keep.
Right.
Until that contract runs out. So it's a very weird situation.
One place I think would be really interesting, but I promise you will never, ever, 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 ever happen, would be Washington reuniting him with John Wall. I think that'd be really interesting.
How would that work?
I would almost agree that it wouldn't. I mean, his salary honestly isn't too different from Jan Mamme's. So you could honestly financially do Jan and another player, say Tomas Satoransky or something like that, and financially that would probably work. The fact that
throwing some draft picks?
Oh, hell yeah, like all of them.
I think that's what
financially it could happen, which is insane to me. But realistically, like in basketball, there's no chance.
Someone needs to call.
I don't think a lot of players are gonna go east.
Why the hell?
Why not?
Why would you?
Go to state?
Yeah, I think it would be a much easier route. The East climate, like we said, you got 4 teams, and then it's kind of a wash. You put the right players on any of those wash teams, and now they're a contender. And at this point, we've said that being a contender is pretty much all you can be if you're not the Warriors or the Cavs.
Right.
But that's my point. Like, do you want to wait out the Warriors dynasty or wait for LeBron to decline? Which one you think is going to happen faster?
LeBron declining? He's already declining.
Yeah, I think the LeBron one is a lot easier because you're looking at LeBron, Kyrie, and Love. And, I mean, Love has already shown that he can be up and down. You get LeBron on a decline, even though Kyrie can still be getting better because he's younger. You can beat that team.
Yeah.
The Warriors, I mean, shit, you're going to have to wait the next 6 years before there's a large enough gap of, like, players on their team for you to, like, get in and steal one. the Cavs can be beaten. You go like the first time when they played the Warriors and you had Kyrie and Love both injured, you beat the Cavs. Even when you have Steph injured with the Warriors, that team is still pretty packed. You got to look for a much
They
bigger.
barely beat them last year
window.
with Steph injured, and that was before
Yeah.
he got there.
So you definitely want to go Cavs over Warriors because you feel like a full season and playoffs, you can catch the Cavs slipping. That's what I feel. I don't think you can catch the Warriors slipping per se.
I agree. If their bench shows up at all, if they can get 4 guys on that bench to do anything useful, they can be a damn hard team to beat. I mean, you know who Cleveland is. You know who's going to give you everything from them. They're not going to surprise you in any way.
I'll contend that